I finally moved into my 1996 E350 Skoolie, and I wanted to give a quick tour of the bus. As you can see on the outside, not much has changed. The hood latch is still broken, despite spending lots of time doing tons of repairs to this thing over the last couple of weeks, and working long hours to pay for all those repairs. The tires are still what they are. The wheels look kind of sketchy, but they're actually in good shape. I have my bicycle finally with me. The rear tires need to be replaced at some point soon, but they're still okay for now. Otherwise, not a ton else going on the outside that's new or different. I've figured out how to work the door a little bit better, and the box on the back, I bought a lock for it, which ended up not working out, so I'm gonna have to get a different lock. But the generator box on the back is still working well. Haven't hooked up the backup camera yet, and the stop sign is still in place. I've discovered that the manual release on the door tends to work a lot better than the power one, and it doesn't drain the batteries either. Okay, so this is the interior of the bus. So starting at the front door here, this door is actually pretty cool. You can just open it manually like that, and there's a latch down below, and if you attach it to this lever mechanism here, there's no way anyone's going to be able to open the door without breaking the door, and if they're willing to break the door, there's not much I can do about that. I have a fire extinguisher here. This came with the bus, so I should probably check. Looks like it's still full, so that's good. Up here, for some reason, there's swimming shampoo, but I've been keeping like toothbrushes, that kind of thing up here. As you can see here, this is an enormous TV. I'm probably going to take that out because I don't actually watch TV that much, and when I do, it's probably going to be on my phone, and it just uses way too much power for the bus. I don't really want to deal with that. Air conditioner, I'm not entirely sure it actually works properly. It turns on and it runs, but I don't know if it works properly. I was debating whether or not I should just pull it out and put it in a heater in the same spot, but we'll see what happens. For now, it's going to stay there. So there's this area here. I haven't really gone through this area too much, so I'm keeping all kinds of just random things in here. This actually opens up, and there's a huge storage space underneath. I just don't entirely know what's in there, so I still need to go through that. I do have my first aid kit over there in the corner. Over here along this wall is my piano with the bench. So that bench actually, if I want to eat or something, I can pull it out and use it over here for that area, or I can use it for the bench. I have it tied down with just some rope and a couple of these marine cleats. I don't know if you can see that very well. That one's pretty full, but it's just tied on with cleats, and it keeps things really secure. It's not going to go anywhere. There's this random hanger that was up here, which is ideal for holding my headphones. The piano in theory has a headphone holder, but I don't know what happened to it. It fell off at some point. Up here, you should see, it's interesting, it looks a little bit different on the phone, but this is just an adhesive LED light strip. In theory, they're waterproof as well, which is fortunate because this hatch does leak sometimes. Although I did just reseal, I found some cracks up there, so I sealed up a bunch of cracks. As you can see, these LED lights are, well, I'm using this duct tape basically just as drain relief. There's actually a couple of connectors there, and so that plugs into my battery. So I'm basically running my entire bus off of this battery right here. So normally it's just refrigeration and lights, or sometimes the piano as well. It says 250 watts, and it doesn't actually put out 250 watts in DC. That's only the that's only the inverter that actually puts out 250 watts. The DC outs, you can only draw about 120 before it shuts off. But for me, this will last me a day or two. I can run the refrigerator for basically 24 hours off of this, but normally I have the refrigerator plugged into the bus when it's running, or I have it hooked up to the generator when it's running. I would like to get some solar panels for this, and I should be doing that fairly soon. So back to the other side of the bus. So if you've seen my older videos, there used to be a stove right here, and so I actually took that out this morning. It's sitting in a storage unit. It was a big gas stove, and it's just not that practical for the bus. It used way too much propane. There's no propane hookups in here right now. There's no propane tanks. There's nowhere to put any propane tanks. So I just took it out. It doesn't serve any purpose. And I had all this other stuff that needed a home. So I have a 5-gallon water jug back there. And I haven't actually used that on here. I used to have that on my sailboat, and I decided to just bring it with me. So that 5-gallon jug should last quite a while. I have a 2.5-gallon jug here of water, and this by itself can easily last me a week, just depending on what I'm doing. I'm sure if it gets hotter out, I'll start using more water, but you know, it's winter in Washington, so it's kind of cool and humid. I'm not exactly drinking a ton of water right now. This here is my washing machine. I haven't actually used it in the bus. I've had this for years. I used to use it in my apartment because the washer and dryer didn't work very well. And so it's just a hand crank washing machine. Works really well. But it needed a home. A jump start battery, which certainly cannot jump start this bus, but I have a generator, so I can always charge up my batteries if I have to. And I'm putting my garbage there for now, and this bucket of just random things. I think my broom's in there, dustpan. At the moment, my curtains, I have curtains for the windows, and those are in the bucket at the moment. The interesting thing about this bus is that it's magnetic because this is steel here. So these magnets, they all stick to the bus. And I've been using these to hold up the curtains. So I'm missing one. There should be one more of these square ones. I need to get a little bit stronger magnets, but they work really well for holding up curtains all across the window there. And these are very heavily tinted windows, so you can't normally see in anyways, but it gets kind of dark in here, even with all these lights and everything. This is plenty of light. It's just, the curtains just help. Over here, this is my stove. It's just a single burner camping butane stove. Works fine. Obviously I open the windows when I'm using it. It puts out plenty of heat. I can boil pots of water in no time. This faucet here is probably not going to stay. It's just way too big for the bus. It takes up a lot of room. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with the water situation. Usually I just use this. I have running water basically. It's just gravity fed running water. So I don't necessarily even need a faucet here. But I'll show you what the sink looks like in a minute. So when I am working, I need to use my computer. Unfortunately, I don't have a laptop. I just have this ancient iMac. It's just over 10 years old now, so it's not being supported anymore. So I need a new computer. But this is basically the primary reason why I have a generator, because generators are way cheaper than new computers. So this is what I have. So down underneath this shelving area, this used to be an absorption fridge in here. And so that it's basically set up for that. And instead, of course, I have my 12-volt compressor fridge here. So this thing is awesome. I'll have a video on a bunch of the electronics and stuff that I bought separately. But this thing works really well, and it doesn't use a ton of power. And then we get to this area here. So as you can see, my sink drains out into that bucket. And I don't know why this is so complex, but there's like 2 pieces of wood here that open up, and that's how you get to the bucket so you can empty it. Unfortunately, this area down here doesn't open. I don't know if you can see in there, but there's nothing underneath there, so I suppose I could hide stuff in there, but right now it's just useless space. So this came with the bus. This is just one of those portable toilets. It's a camping toilet. I don't know too much about it. I don't entirely know how to use it. Finding bathrooms really hasn't been a problem, so I don't worry about it. But it is nice to have, because at some point I'm likely to need a bathroom when I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and this will do. I just probably should figure out how to use it before I go in the middle of nowhere. So you can see my wiring here. These are both refrigerator power wires. So one of them is 120 volts, and so when I'm running the generator, I plug that in. The other one runs all the way up there to the battery, and so that's the 12 volt cable. I'm thinking I should probably put the 120 volt one behind the cabinet back in there. There's actually an outlet back there which you can't see. So I'll probably do that at some point, but this one here, the 12 volt one, it's always going to be in the way. I haven't found a great solution for that, because when the bus is running, I just plug it into the bus, and when the bus is off and I don't have the generator running, it has to run up to the battery there. So I still need to figure out exactly what to do about that. And while I'm on the floor down here, so it looks like a bunch of random junk in there, but I have sandals, a little bit of electrical wiring, the old inverter, some stuff that needs to come out. But I also have a table. These are camping chairs here. That's just like a portable table that you would set up outside at a campsite. I have four chairs, and the table should seat 4 people, so plenty there. Some weights, there's a scale, and my work clothes are down there at the moment. So over here we have the bed, and the bed, it's not very exciting. I just got this mattress. I've only slept on it a couple of times, and it wasn't quite fully inflated yet, but it's just a standard 6-inch foam mattress that is supposed to smell like green tea, which I guess it actually kind of does. It's a little weird, but it works well. It's quite comfortable. I can sleep on almost any surface comfortably, so it doesn't really bother me too much. And so basically, I just have my blankets on there. I do have some sheets. When I bought the bus, they told me this was a queen size bed, but it's not. I actually measured it, and it's a space for a full size, which is actually better for me. I had a full size bed before moving onto the bus, back when I had my apartment, and so all my sheets and everything, all my bedding fits it perfectly. So eventually I'll get that all sorted out, but for right now it's just a sleeping bag on there, and it keeps me warm because I don't have any heat, and I don't really need heat too much. It hasn't been that cold. It's only a couple of times a year when you really need heat around here, and I'm thinking of just getting like a small space heater and just going to one of the powered campsites if it gets too cold again. Up here we have more odds and ends. Of course, my battery, which I think I'd already showed you. There's a fan, and it's mostly just hats, gloves, clothes, a couple of miscellaneous things that really shouldn't be here, like some batteries, my tent, which I don't really use that much, and of course laundry. And up here, this is all dishes, and right now there's a little bit of food, like some bread there, and pots and pans, that kind of thing. If you're wondering what was right here, there is actually a lot of storage here. There's actually a hidden compartment, and I won't really show you how to get to that. But right now it's full of food because there's no storage for food anywhere else, basically. And so now I'll show you what the sink looks like. It's kind of crazy, but for me it actually works quite well. I wouldn't have installed it this way, but I'll show you. Okay, so I cleared everything off, and this top lifts up, and as you can see, there is an enormous sink right there, and it just drains down into the bucket. I'm probably going to get rid of that faucet because it's just too much, but the sink's actually pretty good. You can throw dirty dishes in there and clean them quite easily, and I believe my washing machine fits in there as well, and if it doesn't, it definitely fits on the counter over there where the computer is. And so having a large sink like this actually works pretty well for me if I'm hand washing laundry, which I usually do. It's just a little too cold to dry at the moment. So as you can see, this bus is still a work in progress, like any living space is. It'll get more organized and a little nicer looking over time. It's already better than it was a couple of days ago. And I don't know if I'm going to be living in here full time, but certainly on the weekends. During the work week, I still need to do the math and figure out whether it's worth it for me driving it back and forth to work from the campgrounds. It does use a fair amount of fuel. I finally filled it up. It takes a while to drain the fuel out of this thing because it just has a huge tank. And it does get almost exactly 15 miles per gallon. So that's still pretty good for a bus this size. Really, any vehicle this size getting that kind of fuel mileage is pretty good. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.